Hey everybody, Alex Terrace, healthhacksreview.com. So in this video, just going to briefly touch on two excellent PEMF devices for joints, for musculoskeletal conditions. And in this product category, which I've done a lot of research in, I generally find that most devices are grossly overpriced and they're usually lacking actual clinical research and or studies or even case studies on their actual devices and equipment. So this particular brand, even though they're one of the older devices that have been on the market for a while, and I would say that some of their models here they've been selling for 30 years, they mainly have developed a huge market in Europe. They came to the United States a little while ago, but they just haven't done a lot of marketing, online, I would say, and trade shows and things like that in the United States and Canada. So for that reason, they're not incredibly well known on a brand level. They certainly could be if they did that sort of marketing. They're much more well known in Europe. Now, granted, in the European world, historically, a couple different countries have done a bulk of the amount of PEMF research. One of those countries that have done a huge amount is Russia, and this is actually where the company is based and where they did a huge amount of research that actually went into their devices here. So now this brand you may also see on Dr. Pollack's website, and interestingly, this is actually one of the few brands on that website that gets the best results. So there's a lot of other really expensive devices on there, and believe me, I have so many different practitioners. They get this $550 device here, or they might get an LMAG2. They want more of a mat system or something like that, more of a full setup for $3,600. And their $15,000, $25,000, $35,000 PEMF units they already had are just sitting around collecting dust because there's no comparison, literally. Yeah, their best seller, just so you know, is the LMAG1. If you can take a little look at this here. So this one automatically runs a few different programs in it, frequency program sets, that have been determined in a lot of research to be the most consistent way of affecting different intracellular and cellular metabolism sorts of processes related to microcirculation, inflammation, et cetera, et cetera. I would say that in the under $1,000 PEMF category, let's just keep it simple for now, this probably has the best efficacy I've ever seen in terms of consistent outcomes. Say maybe 95% of people, if they have a musculoskeletal issue, unless it's something extremely unusual, will actually get results within the first 1 to 2 weeks, even about that fast. So that's a very, very high efficacy rate. So I sell a lot of brands, by the way, and one thing that I've always found interesting in all these product categories I deal with is tracking the results that people get with different devices. Like I sell a lot of Beamers, BEMER is the name, which is a full mat PEMF system. I sell a bunch of them. They are really impressive and they're very helpful for some people. But I say some people because I have tracked with all of the ones I've sold what people are not getting results. And it is definitely a niche type of profile. If a person has these types of needs, these health conditions, it will probably do very well. But if they're outside of that a little bit, or the condition is a little unknown, it usually doesn't work that well. So if I just took a huge average amount, maybe 35% of people works fantastic for the Beamer, and everybody else is like in between or nothing. And it's a little bit much more of an expensive device, $4,000 to $6,000 range. So basically, with this device, it's very low cost. What's unique about it too is if you have anything going on with the spine or anything that's connected to the spine, so we're talking about almost everything now, you can actually lay this up and down your spine. They run for 20-minute cycles. You just plug it in. There's no learning curve. Just plug it in, runs for 20, shuts off. If you want to do another session, you plug it in, back again. You unplug it, plug it back in. But this design is really actually useful because you can do in a sense, you can send a signal to the whole body, and yet it's a localized device. So usually PEMF is in the category of localized or a full system, a full body mat, with usually a big price differential. And a lot of times I've found the localized systems for treating specific areas are a couple coils, or they're very small. So this is unique because let's say you just had an elbow or knee issue or a shoulder problem, right, or a neck issue. You could just wrap this around that area of the body. And what's interesting is when you wrap it around a limb too, sometimes the coils are actually going through your body from both sides, which amplifies the healing power even more so. Or if you want to just treat more of the whole body, or let's say you have a whole back spinal thing going on, you can just put it in between you and the couch or your chair and let it just run in your whole spine, or lay on your stomach, on your bed, and put it on your back. A lot of things you could do. Great for pets as well, by the way, if you just put in the pet bed underneath them. So it's very simple to use, and these indications are no joke. You know, I would say that the programmed frequency sets inside this device, these conditions really are specifically tied to studies. And by the way, a good chunk of these studies is in other languages. So that's part of the challenge in sometimes tracking down this research. Huge amount in Russian, Hungarian, Swedish, German. And then I've had some of them translated. But basically, I'm pointing out this list too because I can really truly tell you that this device, this company, really is linking the programmed sets in their device to studies and to these conditions that they actually found efficacy with. I find with a lot of PEMF units, there's a lot of issues with them, but they basically are making a lot of claims about a lot of different health issues and don't actually have the programmed sets, frequency sets in there that were used in those studies. So there's a whole gap or a lack with a coordination or a correlation between the actual studies and the research and what's in a specific device. And they've done a huge amount of clinical usage with this device as well for 30 years. So long time ago. I mean, a long time they've been doing this. I'll just briefly touch on also, there is an LMAG 2. There's 40 different programs in here instead of just a handful with the LMAG 1, and you can manually control them. So, and I can always send you what those program sets are. So there's a much larger amount of what you can actually treat with this device. And, you know, it's not just going to be basically musculoskeletal conditions. I won't get into it, but you can definitely get into a lot of other sorts of disease states and organ issues with this particular mat device. And by the way, just for a mat in general, this is on the lower end of the price point. There's very few mats that are even, I would say almost there's actually none that are even close to the same efficacy as this one. Down here, this is the Megaphone, a little bit newer in the company, but what's unusual is honestly every single device on this company's website and what they sell gets amazing results. Sounds like I'm totally hyping this company, but they have the research, they have the clinical usage. I've sold all of them. People almost always get results within 1 to 2 weeks with any of theirs. And again, their price points are so low. That's what really makes me love this company so much. And again, I sell other brands as well. I sell other PEMF units. You can always chat with me anytime about other brands. But $470, like this one for joint issues in particular. So what's the difference, by the way, with the LMAG 1? The LMAG 1 can treat the same conditions the Megaphone could. The Megaphone, though, is a unique device on the market. There's nothing else like it that does a type of sound acoustic effect that would be similar. The vibroacoustic is oscillation, so basically similar to ultrasound, but they're combining it with PEMF, which is ingenious. And there's nothing else like it out there. And for, here we go, arthritis, gout injuries, sinusitis. It really does do a lot of things. I would just say that it shines with musculoskeletal injury, but especially joints. And again, I see the same thing, 95% of people first week usually, or sometimes second week, get results with this thing. They could easily, based on the high efficacy rate, I mean, they could charge a lot more than that. I'm not even sure what I would charge, but they could get away with a lot more just because of how well it works. And the fact of the savings, not just reducing all the stress and the pain a person has, but the real savings in the person not spending that money on pain meds or other types of therapies, things like that. Yeah, those ones are some of their better sellers. I'll just touch on this, the Diamag. That's transcranial magnetic stimulation is the only one of its kind for at-home TMS therapy. So TMS therapy, if you need the more professional stuff to heal the brain, I know the best 2 centers in the world, and it's much more expensive to do a course of treatments. It'll be like $10,000 to $12,000. But this one gets great results, and it's a home unit for all kinds of brain conditions. So that's totally unique. What's another one I want to actually touch on? Polymag has like 100, I forget how many, 100-something programs in there. This is like something that a doctor's office, literally there's tons of doctor's office and clinics in Europe using this right now. This is something they use for, gosh, pretty much anything, musculoskeletal, all kinds of health issues. So if you have that type of practice where you're treating a lot of different conditions, this is what you generally focus on. I can send you pricing on that. This is so unique. Again, this is the only PEMF device specifically designed for any eye condition. And so there's a lot of different eye conditions out there. Again, I've seen incredible results with this device. And I know we just point out that there's really actually several eye conditions where there's not really a specific way to treat it. There's no specific therapy. And/or if there is, it's mediocre at best and or might have side effects. So this is side effect free and again addresses a wide variety of different conditions. What's unique about this too, by the way, is that the signal is going through the eyes into the brain. And generally for a variety of eye conditions, if there is an eye condition, there is usually something up with the brain as well. So this is actually having an effect on the brain as well, therapeutically. This is totally unique as well. The company has so many unique things, but they've been in the market a long time. They've been in the industry a long time. So this is a device for the prostate. And yeah, it's one of a kind. Again, I've collected a lot of feedback from a lot of men. Gets great results. It also does address ED, erectile dysfunction, does it very well. Why do a lot of, and I'll touch on this by the way, why are prostate issues and really a lot of other issues too so prevalent? Because the kidneys are not filtering lymph, basically. There's a lot of acidic waste in the body. Things start to clog up the prostate. It's really the adrenals and the kidneys' job. When that starts to go off, which most people, theirs is off, not functioning properly and filtering, that is when the prostate starts to go. So you could look at much of the problem in the prostate being a microcirculation issue, and so essentially using PEMF is a great way to get at more of the issue and start to move fluids. Still, of course, ultimately the condition will come back if one doesn't address adrenals and kidney. So what else do they also use this device for? They're actually having a lot of success with, gosh, what is it called? But basically surgeries for the uterus and for the vagina as well, for tightening, skin tightening and healing after those surgeries. That's probably all they will touch on for now. There's a few other interesting devices you can look at, but those are some of their best sellers. And again, I've seen 85 to 95% positive therapeutic outcomes with all these devices, which I remember initially years ago I was very skeptical, or I thought, usually when I research different companies, they might have like one device that really shines, that really works, and the rest are like, But literally everyone here, it's just because they have literally so much research that have been put into the devices. And then again, their price points make me so happy. It's highly unusual that a company is not so concerned, especially in the PEMF industry, about making a ridiculous profit margin. And I can share with you some of the profit margins on some of these PEMF devices. They're incredible. They're grossly overpriced usually. And if anything, I think these devices are underpriced, Almagia's. So I do sell this. I could always make you a quote, and you're always welcome to order direct with me. But some of these devices might not be the best for you too. Just depends on your unique set of needs or other adjunct therapies you're doing, or if you're a practice, you might want to lease or rent these out to your patients to improve therapeutic outcomes between other types of adjunct therapies, or there might be a better system out there I can chat with you about. Go to healthhacksreview.com, give me a thumbs up on this video, and you're always welcome to leave questions or try to contact me on my website. Thanks for watching.